Jordan Peele. Let me first give context. Jordan Peele is a phenomenal director. He, as far as I know, has directed three good movies. Get Out to me is one of the best horror movies I've ever seen in my entire life. I still think that movie has a lot of thriller, a lot of tension, and I love that movie. Us is a fantastic movie. I'll say the ending of Us is not so good, but still, he has a good track record. Now we get into Nope. Let me tell you this, the trailers do not give anything away. Nothing at all. Not one bit. You might think that that second trailer gave too much away. It did not. It is a phenomenal film. It is a great film. That only has one flaw, but where do I rank it? First, I'm going to tell you my ranking of where do I put it, and then we'll go on from there. I think it's nowhere near as good as Get Out. Get Out to me is still the gold standard of what Jordan Peele can do. It is better than Us. It is better than Us. Now, if you're expecting a major plot twist in this movie that will surprise you and leave you shocked, kind of like Us didn't really do that well. But if you're expecting somewhere near that level, I'll tell you this right now, you're going to be disappointed by that. But what are my thoughts on this? Now, I will not be spoiling this movie at all. I'm going to try being very vague. But first, let me tell you, Jordan Peele is a phenomenal director. The editing in this movie is phenomenal, and you can tell that within the first 5 minutes. The first 5 minutes in this movie, you can already tell that the editing. I don't know if it's Jordan Peele edits them himself or he has an entire team, but keep that team on. He's a phenomenal director. The directing in this movie is phenomenal. The acting, let me tell you this, Daniel Kaluuya, phenomenal actor. Once again, he proves how great he is. You can see him here on the poster that you see right here on frame. He's phenomenal in this. His character is kind of anxious. You can tell he's not a speaker. You can tell he's very quiet and reserved. You can tell he is very down to earth. And I love, because he doesn't speak that much. I mean, he speaks, but he doesn't speak as much as Keke Palmer, which I'll get into in a bit. You can tell more, like, his acting is portrayed more with his eyes, with his mouth, the way he quivers, the way he moves. Everything is phenomenal. Keke Palmer, standout of this movie. Not in acting wise. I still give that to Daniel Kaluuya, who was phenomenal in this movie. Is it Oscar level? No, but it's definitely, you can tell this guy definitely has a talent. Keke Palmer is hilarious in this movie. She's great. What I like, so this movie reminded me of one thing, and I don't want to bash the MCU movies. I love the MCU. Thor: Love and Thunder I didn't like so much. Doctor Strange was phenomenal. Spider-Man: No Way Home was great. It was fantastic. But you're noticing in blockbusters, modern blockbusters, if you go look at Sonic the Hedgehog 2, Lightyear, if you're seeing modern blockbusters, there's this running theme of let's crack a joke every 5 minutes to calm the tension because we can't allow the audience to feel the tension. Unless Doctor Strange. Or the Batman, obviously the Batman's a good example of not doing that. But this movie reminded me of what films should do. Not put there's humor in this movie, but it's not MCU humor. Or let me rephrase that. It's not modern blockbuster humor. The humor in this movie is clearly very subtle. It feels because one of my problems with modern Hollywood, and I love modern movies, don't get me wrong. One of my problems is typically in movies, there'll be like a joke every 5 minutes, and it feels like they're trying to calm the tension. And it never also feels organic. It kind of feels like they're making a joke for the audience rather than a joke between characters, which is why I like a lot of great films like The Godfather, Pulp Fiction. Those jokes in those movies tend to be with the characters themselves. It feels natural, feels normal. But in a lot of these blockbuster films, you always feel like the comedy is more towards the people watching this, not the actual characters in the movie. But in Nope, one thing Nope really reminded me of is comedy within the characters, not comedy for the audience. Sure, you laugh, but it's more subtle laughing. You're not just like laughing your ass off a lot. It feels more like the characters are joking with. And it reminded me, and I'm sorry if I'm putting so much emphasis on that. It's just that I want movies to do this, what Nope did, at least when it comes to comedy. Make jokes, but don't take it away from the tension built up with the scene that needs tension. Do not ruin the scene because you need a quick jokes to allow the audience to breathe. And I love what Nope did there. Now, is this a horror movie? I'll say it's a sci-fi movie. It's not as horror as Us. It's not as horror as Get Out. It has elements of horror, but it's a sci-fi movie. It's a sci-fi movie. It's really a sci-fi movie. There's a very few complaints I have this movie, but overall this movie is phenomenal. It's great. It's amazing. Steven Yeun, he plays this character named Ricky. He doesn't really do much, which now I understand why he doesn't show up much in the trailers, because that was a big question I had. Barbie Ferreira, she's in this movie, but she's in it almost as like a quick cameo. It's not like anything big. Brandon Pereira was great in this movie. The two standouts are obviously Kiki and Daniel. Those are the two standouts of this movie. They are the ones that you go for. And the chemistry with these characters makes sense. One is this very outgoing extrovert who loves talking, who loves just cooperating with other people, while Daniel's more reserved. He's more calm, he's more relaxed. And I love that movie had these two different characters, but every time they were on screen, you always felt that they did know each other. And even the other characters, the chemistry with each character made sense, but specifically with Keke and Daniel's characters, both of them, they have every scene with them is amazing, because it feels like these are actors. Now, I don't know this, but it feels like these are actors who know each other, who know each other on a personal level. And it feels like they genuinely knew how to balance off each other. The chemistry, everything was great. And I love that. The other actors that I did not list out, they don't do much in this movie. A lot of the actors don't do much in this movie. A lot of them don't really have arcs, stories. In fact, you don't really know much about these characters. The only thing you really know is that their dad owned that ranch and they have to maintain it. The alien aspect. Now, Jordan Peele confirmed this. It is aliens. I'm not going to say what it is. I'm not going to tell you the plot twist. Don't go into this movie expecting a plot twist. I already said that. Go into this movie with lower expectations. Leave your expectations at the door, because I think some people are going to be expecting this major, big, revolutionary conflict that Get Out had, or even Us. The movie doesn't have that. In fact, it kind of twists your mind. When the movie ended, I was like, oh, I did not think they'd go that route, but they went that route. And I love that the movie did that. This movie's phenomenal. The movie's great. The filming, the directing, the acting, everything was great. The editing especially was great. Everything was great. The story was great. I like that the movie keeps itself simple. Again, like I said earlier, you don't really get to know these characters' backstories, but you get like one thing, which is just that their dad died, and it shows you that at the very beginning. Not a spoiler, but it shows it to you at the very beginning. That's all you know about the characters, but you know how they act, you know how they interact, you know how they really talk. And I like that the movie, it was just a simple premise. It felt relaxing. It felt calming just to get this simple premise, and that's it. And I think you can tell that with all Jordan Peele movies now that I think about it, except for like Us. But then again, Us needed the backstory to serve the plot. And I'm glad that this movie did that. The 2 hour and 11-minute runtime fits this movie perfectly. The pacing is great. The movie is a slow burn. If you're somebody who's not a big fan of slow burns, you may not like that. The first act is a big slow burn, but it also works for the movie. It's not like the movie ruins that slow burn. The movie fits perfect with the runtime it has, the way it tells its story. The only criticisms I have, which I'll tell you later on, there's a couple of things that I just don't like. But overall, the pacing is great. It's wonderful. It fits perfectly, 2 hours and 11 minutes. It tells its story. It doesn't feel convoluted. It doesn't feel like it's trying to tell you too much and too little, which is one of my fears, because the Nope trailers were kind of secretive, and I genuinely believe that it was going to be convoluted. I thought it was going to be a little weird and wonky, kind of like Tenet was, even though I still like Tenet. Tenet kind of felt that way. This movie did not, and I like that. The movie is simple. It's there are even like some of my favorite movies are when you go into a movie and you're theorizing what's going on within the movie. Like, you're wondering, oh, maybe this is the thing, maybe that's the thing. But then that kind of changes, and then throughout the movie, when the movie processes, you expect certain things to happen, but you're baffled by them not going that route. And I like that this movie did that. Again, it's a simple movie. It's a movie that doesn't try to be something it's not, and I'm glad that the movie did that. It's a phenomenal film. Is it Oscar level? I'll say when it comes to editing, it is an Oscar level movie. I wouldn't say it's a best picture. I don't think it's as revolutionary as Get Out was, because I do think Get Out completely changed a lot of things in horror, sci-fi, and all that. But yeah, this movie's a sci-fi. It's not a horror. If you're expecting big blood gore, it's not that. There is blood in this. So the movie is R-rated. I'll tell you this. When I was watching this movie, I did not know why this movie was R-rated until there was a couple of scenes. Now, one of the scenes I wish they removed, but the other scene I'm going to be vague as possible. There is a scene where I'm like, okay, this is definitely R-rating. Everything else was not R-rating. So I honestly, if I was a studio, I would have been like, hey, Jordan, we really don't need this scene, so let's try getting that PG-13 rating. So that way more people can come in. It's summer. Teenagers want to go watch a horror movie. Let's make more box office money. And the movie would then feel R rating. I didn't. But I don't care. I'm not going into a movie for an R rating. The horror. There's characters that die in this movie. That, like, you'll see deaths. But it's weird because for an R-rated movie, you don't really see anyone die, because now that I'm remembering, you don't see a single character die. You see them die, but you don't see, it's like hidden. It's kind of like if I threw this phone away and like right here, you see this phone, If I throw away here, you're seeing me throw the phone. But if you see the phone here where the no poster is at, and I throw it, you'll know I threw it, but you didn't see how or where did it land. You know, it's kind of like that. The movie doesn't really show you the deaths, which I was surprised because for an R-rated movie, I really thought they would show you, which is why I didn't believe that this movie was R-rated until I checked Fandango, and yeah, it was R-rated. I was surprised, but overall, it's a fantastic movie. If you're someone who likes, I'll compare this movie to Jaws. Jaws isn't necessarily a horror movie, but there's horror elements to it. Overall, I'll say this is an amazing movie. Sci-fi, the horror elements are great. Overall, it's a great movie. Now let me get to some criticisms. I have very few criticisms. The only criticism I have is, now this isn't a spoiler. I'm going to be vague as possible. And I'm not talking about the ending. I'm only talking about certain things that happen, I think, in the first and middle act of the movie. There's like 2 scenes. There's 2 scenes, and I'm not going to say what they are, but there's a monkey involved, and you'll know what I'm talking about when you see the movie. The movie plays out those 2 scenes like it's going to be this big important thing that's going to happen, but nothing happens with that. It plays it out like it's going to connect, and it's even like one of the first scenes in the movie. So I was a little surprised that when the credits rolled, there wasn't any reveal or anything about that. Now, maybe I need to rewatch this movie again, but I definitely think that should have been deleted. This is what I'm theorizing. So directors are very public about this. It's hard for them to delete a scene, especially when a scene is so phenomenally well shot. I genuinely believe there's going to be something that was going to happen with that ape or something connected to that. And I think that's what Jordan kept that scene because he thought it was a well shot, well filmed scene. My assumption is that scene was going to connect to something even bigger. Excuse me. But they cut out that scene because it didn't feel fit for the ending. Now, the ending is not this major plot twist. I want to emphasize that. And I'm not spoiling it, but the movie doesn't have like this major plot twist. That's all I'm going to say. It doesn't really have the trailers are pretty simple. The movie's pretty simple. The trailers are really good at hiding what this movie is. I mean, they'll tell you what it is, but they're not really highlighting exactly plot points or anything like that. And I like that about the movie. I just think that the ape scenes could have been deleted. But overall, it was a phenomenal movie. Whatever you guys think about this movie, whatever it is, if you've seen it, have you not, let us know in the comment sections what do you think. And did you like my review? Whatever it is, let us know in the comment section down below. And if you want to see more movie reviews like this, subscribe, smash the like button, turn on the notification bells, do whatever you got to do. And yeah, we'll see you guys next time. Peace.